Hello, and this is Jetstream.
And this is Techie Guy, and by popular demand, we are finally reviewing the family-friendly movie...
Robots! Oh, you guys are merciful.
It's a very adorable, colourful, creative, and entertaining movie with both childish and mild adult humour with some very clever writing.
It's a story of a very caring young bot called Rodney Copperbottom, who has a dream to be an inventor.
And it's all about his trip into Robot City to meet his idol Bigweld, the greatest inventor of all Robot City, but things don't work out as he would hope as trouble hits Robot City. We start out in a place called Rivet Town, where we meet Herb, who's excited to learn the news that he's gonna become a dad.
Just so you know, this opening, adorable! And we also get a random moment with a dog.
Good for you, Herb! Don't even think about it.
Because we needed that. Oh, don't pretend like you didn't want to see it. That dog is very important to the movie.
Anyway, sadly, Herb missed the delivery but well...
Making the baby's the fun part.
Not gonna comment on that, Jetstream?
Why should I? They're just making babies.
We see the baby bot being created with butt joke and everything.
What?
What's that extra piece?
Oh no, they always put in an extra... We did want a boy, right?
I'm not gonna ask. But regardless, Rodney as a baby is so freaking cute. Look how adorable he is. Yes, he is.
We see Rodney growing up, eagerly excited for his new parts. This is where he learns he is getting hand-me-downs because his parents couldn't buy him newer parts yet. Around this time, we also learn what his father does.
Dad?
Yeah?
What do you do?
Me? Oh, I work in a big, fancy restaurant. I'm a dishwasher.
Did he make Rodney wait before giving him an answer?
I think Amy Rose explains it best.
Dirt throwing isn't my cup of tea. Thankfully, I know something that is my cup of tea. A cup of tea!
Why did you just say that?
Remember before I said I know something that is my cup of tea? I was just finishing the thought.
But you said that like an hour ago.
Yeah, but imagine if you were an outside observer just watching pieces of the conversation.
You see them too?
By learning about a fellow inventor known as Bigweld, voiced by Mel Brooks,
Why didn't somebody tell me my ass was so big?
Rodney starts getting inspired and starts tinkering to help his father out with his workload.
However, getting into his teenage years, he keeps getting given hand-me-down parts until one year, he has a bit of a,
Boobies!
Jetstream! But yeah, not wrong. However, later on, Rodney gets in trouble with his father's boss when his invention, the Wonderbot, gets nervous and ends up destroying the kitchen.
I'm gonna wreck it!
Rodney is shamed and feels that this is his time to go out and be somebody.
This leads to the most adorable scene of all. The goodbyes!
You go to Robot City. You go meet Bigweld, and you show him your big ideas. And Rodney, never give up.
So cute.
Jetstream, are you okay there?
Oh, poor techie guy. Oh,
Which leads to the most impressive part of the movie, Robot City. In case you missed it earlier, this movie has a ton of things to offer when it comes to imagination and creativity, and just how it works. Like this whole travel sequence where they show exactly how much thought and effort they had to put into making everything mesh together. Though it might not make too much sense some of the time, it's really fun to watch and makes you wish you were there.
And then you get this guy, the most unlikable character in the whole film.
You're Tim from the TV show! That's me!
He jerks Rodney around and laughs in the guy's face, especially when he's down.
Get lost, freak!
So charming. Well, as you can imagine, Rodney don't exactly get let in. However, he does have his ways.
But before then, we meet Ratchet.
Not to be mistaken for Ratchet from Transformers.
And I needed that!
What she said. This Ratchet is the movie's main villain and rival to Rodney. His goal is to terminate all outmodes upgrade them to they all look the same while looking shiny. Turns out business wasn't doing as well when Bigweld was head of the company, and Ratchet apparently has started making a profit.
There's also Cappy, a good-looking femi that also happens to be of higher class, with respect for outmodes.
Why would robots buy new upgrades if parts are so much cheaper?
Oh, right. Well, that's easy, because as of today, we are no longer making spare parts!
So if the upgraded bots seem to be more well off, does that mean that the outmoded bots are basically the lower working class? I think that just makes the most sense.
Later on, we do get into Ratchet's non-backstory, where we meet his mum, Madame Gasket, head of the chop shop who's...
Alright! Break time! Alright, break time's over! Chop chop!
clearly a man!
I'm a woman.
Good one. Are you a woman? Voiced by Jim Broadbent, the guy from Harry Potter. She's still looking at me. Anyway, she's the one feeding Ratchet these evil plans, using his father as a way to make sure he does what he's told. It's kind of funny to see Ratchet's reaction to his mother. He has this unconditional love for her, but kind of embarrassed by how she looks. That's pretty much kind of what makes it funny.
And by the way, I brought you a little something for your desk.
Moving on, Rodney gets Shocker kicked out because Ratchet hates his ideas, and after a really amusing chase scene with Metal, with some symbolism of the city pooping him out,
Shout him out.
we finally meet Fender, voiced by Robin Williams! Oh boy, this is gonna be awesome.
If I seem to be getting smaller, it's because I'm leaving! Put your film in.
And why finally? Oh, it's because you came in and out of the movie a few times already. Twice to be exact. And this is how they went. Hi, Robin Williams!
Me big anime eyes.
Bye, Robin Williams. Hi, Robin Williams!
Just stick with me, kid. I know this town like the back of my hand. Hey, that's new.
Bye, Robin Williams.
Hear me shout.
Just tip me over and pour me out.
Hi, Robin Williams.
Hi there.
And 30 minutes in, yes, 30 minutes in, while meeting Fender, get a chance to meet the rest of the gang. Crank, the whiner, that, seems to complain a lot. Diesel, the one that doesn't have a voice box but seems to be a very playful and cheery character. Lug, the big but soft-caring green guy, and of course, Piper, the cutest femme in all the movie. Piper's just sassy and funny and takes crap from no one.
Why do you sound like that?
I have no clue.
Jeez, Terry, why don't you just marry her? So now he makes friends with a new gang of outmodes. They invited Rodney to come stay with them at a place that's run by a very caring older femme named Aunt Fan.
Don't you mean Aunt Fanny?
Fan for me, Fanny for you. I know what I said.
She's a little artsy-fartsy. The artsy's okay, but when she gets fartsy...
Look at me. All right on my shoes. I'm so clumsy. Well, hello there. What's your name?
I'm Rodney Big Bottom. No, I'm Rodney Copper Bottom. Copper Bottom.
Bottom.
She also happens to make one of the best fart jokes I've ever seen. Though it did get kind of dark, but I think that just adds to the joke.
The very next day, all the spare parts are gone, and only upgrades are now being sold. However, it seems like the locals can't afford the upgrades, and we're about to riot. That's when Rodney came in to aid and fix up the locals with the help of his friends, to which everyone became indebted.
But that doesn't solve our big problem where...
Bigweld?
I mean...
The idol of millions is gone, and no one seems to care.
So they decided to see if he is at
the Bigweld ball! He always goes to that.
Okay, anyone else? Come on, interrupt me again. See what happens. No good. So yeah, they decided to hit up the Bigweld Bull to find him. Sneaking in as upper-class bots, they discovered Loretta.
I'm Loretta, gear grinder.
Did she just say what I think she just said?
I'm Loretta, gear grinder.
Is that her last name or her profession?
Anyway, they find out Bigweld isn't there and Rodney snaps. This leads to Cappy saving his copper bottom.
You've just been waiting to use that joke, haven't you?
Hey, if the writers of this flick can, so can I. So anyway, Rodney convinces her to take him to Bigweld's place, where they encounter, this.
Who's the king of the beach?
Where we finally meet Bigweld, we find out Ratchet won? That Bigweld, the biggest, most important bot, is now an outload? Okay, what did Ratchet win exactly? Told him he was old? What are we missing?
Well, he is old.
Yes, but he could have just gotten upgrades. Isn't that the point? I'm sorry, I'm just confused, because he's clearly different from the start of the movie!
Either way, he has some choice words for Rodney, which was, well, less than inspiring. But it leads to this wonderful scene where he calls his daddy.
Earlier we find out that his father is falling apart, and with no spares, he will die. Of course, they can't afford to upgrade.
Listen, I know it isn't easy, Rodney, but a dream that you don't fight for can haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, Dad.
Your father loves you very much.
I know.
With our friends and family plan, you can talk to him 500 minutes a month, free nights and weekends.
Well, thanks, movie. I almost took you too seriously there.
Of course, with all this going on, Fender met a girl, got captured, now wears the dress, finds out Ratchet's behind everything, escapes, is at the station trying to get on the next transport out.
And this is where it all comes together and they decided to take the fight to Ratchet. Piper sees the love interest. By the way, nothing ever comes with this, but what's this? Guess who just had a change of spark?
That's right. Bigweld, who decided he didn't want to give up after all and tells Rodney that he acknowledges him. And so, it's now time to confront Ratchet and put him in his place. And,
Oh my gosh, I'm as crazy as my mother!
get knocked out, apparently.
With Bigweld overpowered, Rodney escapes with him, while Cappy's showing off some killer heels. Jetstream once.
Rodney's basically doing brain surgery on Bigweld while on a high-speed chase, which leads them to the final showdown.
Now separated from Bigweld, who is now looking deft and nefarious more, this is where Rodney decides it's time to upgrade.
And this leads to a great scene where Piper shows up with all the bots that Rodney has helped, An army of outmodes against an army of junk bots with really fun action and pacing, and then we get to Fender and, well... Why? Why? This wasn't a thing in any other part of the movie.
What? That was awesome!
It was something. Now we cut to the final moments. Rodney's invention, made out of scrap, versus the mistress of devastation and decay, and she gets her ass spawned.
Oh yeah, like a boss! It gets better when Rodney and Bigweld have a plan.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I sure am.
This isn't what I was thinking at all!
And, well, let's see. Ratchet is now defeated, his mum is gone, and, well, that means Bigweld is back on top, and he declares that his right-hand bot should be Rodney, who will succeed him.
Oh, Primus, another touchy moment. I can't. All aboard!
Jetstream, that's not an expression. Well, anyway, it's all fun, dancing, and music, with added Tim getting his butt kicked.
Good.
Don't you know who I am? Like, what?
And Rodney clearly hooking up with Cappy.
Told you that Piper's Crush thing never comes to anything.
And, well, that was Robots, a bright, colourful, and interesting movie. But if I had to floor it, it felt to me like there was meant to be more between Rodney and Ratchet. They both have similar names and seem to be reverse of each other. One wanted to stay new and shiny, while the other had hand-me-downs and didn't mind getting his servos dirty, and it's just interesting that this idea was not developed more. Ratchet almost seemed one note.
And his mum was just feeding him ideas while he did all the work, which is not bad. She's clearly enjoying being evil, but the scenes with her just seem to be a little too short. That you can't really fully enjoy her evilness. Ratchet is a little more fascinating, but not very well developed. But he had potential to be a more interesting antagonist. And honestly, so could the mother.
How does he hate old and cruddy bots? I could so see a moment where he gets tired of being talked down by his mother and goes, "Guess what, Mom? You've been outmoded." And just clicks his fingers and watches as she gets torn apart by the tools he made to help her. Realizing that she made this monster, made him hate and feel no love for her, because she was now an outmode.
That could have been chilling, contrasting with that hopeful nature of Rodney and able to fix things up while Ratchet is tearing the old down.
Of course, that said, Rodney never had anything against upgrades themselves, which I thought was interesting. It was more of his reaction to the situation. There is also the fact that he's a little selfish and bold, which are not bad things, far from it. It makes him more relatable.
And Robin Williams as Fender is pretty fun, the goofy bot serving well to offset some of the darker moments.
Even though he yo-yoed a lot in this movie, in and out of scenes.
With all that said, we watched the movie several times and had enjoyed it every single time. Even with its little flaws, this is an enjoyable experience of creativity, ready to inspire with colourful and interesting characters along the way. Like and subscribe for more content, and remember,
you can shine no matter what you make.
Couldn't have said it better myself. End transmission.
Making the baby's the fun part.